This food naturally prevents muscle loss after age 60 because it contains more protein than eggs. What if I told you that there is a simple, underappreciated food that is easily accessible, reasonably priced, and actually contains more high-quality, muscle-preserving protein than an egg? This one food could help significantly slow down or even reverse the age-related muscle loss that subtly begins in our 30s. Sarcopenia, the gradual silent loss of muscle, is a warning sign for more serious issues, including slowed metabolism, chronic inflammation, blood sugar imbalance, and even accelerated cognitive decline. However, the majority of people are unaware of the extent to which maintaining lean muscle mass is essential to their health, strength, and independence. If you're not getting the right protein in the right form at the right time, you may be doing everything right, going to the gym, eating healthily, getting enough sleep, and yet you're losing muscle each year. Today's discovery, a straightforward food higher in leucine than eggs, has been shown to activate the potent mTOR pathway for muscle growth and repair. And no, it's actual food, not a powder or fad supplement. And I can assure you that by the end of this episode, you will have a well-defined, scientifically supported plan for maintaining your strength, enhancing your cognitive abilities, and maintaining your independence well into your 70s and beyond with just dietary adjustments, time management, and a few minor daily adjustments. There is only one significant change that could alter the way you age going forward. No tricks or guesswork. The power of casein and protein, timing. When most people are asked to name a food that is high in protein, they will probably say eggs, and with good reason. A cheap, nutrient-dense, and bioavailable food, eggs are almost ideal. About 6 grams of high-quality protein, full of essential amino acids, can be found in one large egg. The surprising thing is that cottage cheese is even more effective at promoting overnight muscle maintenance and has a higher protein content per serving. Let's be more precise. 14 grams of more than 2 eggs, mostly casein, a slow-digesting protein, make up a typical 1 to 2 cup portion of low-fat cottage cheese. This gradual absorption is significant. Your body goes through a sort of natural fasting state while you sleep. You will probably go 8 to 10 hours without eating between dinner and breakfast. Your body may start breaking down muscle tissue to meet its needs if it doesn't have a consistent supply of amino acids during this time, particularly if you're over 30 when sarcopenia starts to worsen. Because casein protein digests slowly and releases amino acids into the bloodstream for up to 7 hours, this is where it becomes powerful. As you sleep, it produces a continuous flow of nutrition for your muscles. It's similar to giving your muscles an intravenous drip of recovery fuel, which increases protein synthesis and decreases catabolism at night. Think of this as eggs. Their protein is absorbed much more quickly, which is great in some situations, such as after a workout, but less effective for overnight muscle preservation, even though they are high in nutrients like choline and vitamin D. Participants who took 40 grams of casein protein before bedtime demonstrated noticeably higher overnight muscle protein synthesis than those who did not, according to a 2012 study published in Medicine and Science in Sports and Exercise. This is also supported by more recent research from Nutrients 2019, which highlights that protein intake before bed enhances muscle mass and strength gains, particularly in older adults. The food we're discussing, cottage cheese, is more than just a snack. It's a time management tool that helps your body transition from a state of muscle breakdown to one of repair when consumed 30 to 60 minutes before bed. Pre-sleep muscle protocol. 14 to 28 grams of protein and half to 1 cup of low-fat cottage cheese. For taste and extra nutrients, you can optionally add cinnamon, a few walnuts, or a teaspoon of honey. Eat 30 to 60 minutes before bed, preferably after a long, active day, or after resistance training. But what about lactose intolerance, you ask? Excellent query. Nowadays, a lot of cottage cheese brands are lactose-free, and some substitutes such as casein protein isolate have comparable advantages. However, the secret is leucine-rich, slowly digesting protein that keeps your muscles going all night. Eating a lot of protein isn't the only way to preserve muscle. The question is, what kind and when? Cottage cheese works because it fits in with the natural cycles of muscle protein turnover and digestion, not because it's trendy or exotic. Please let me know where you're coming from today before we begin. Please feel free to ask any questions you may have and leave a comment below. Additionally, remember to click the subscribe button and enable notifications so you don't miss any of Senior Health Tips' top health advice. Suppose your body had a switch, one that, when activated, instructed you to maintain, grow, and repair your muscles. There is such a switch. One of the most potent regulators of muscle protein synthesis in your body is a protein called mTOR, which stands for mechanistic target of rapamycin. Here's the catch though. Not all the time is mTOR on. Actually, it's either dormant or only slightly activated most of the time, especially as we get older. For this reason, merely increasing protein intake does not always result in muscle preservation. Leucine is a particular amino acid that is required in a threshold quantity to fully activate mTOR. We refer to leucine as a branched-chain amino acid, or BCAA for short. It is essential for telling your muscle cells to begin the process of building. Consuming sufficient amounts of leucine, usually 2.5 to 3 grams per meal, flips the mTOR switch and starts a chain reaction that builds muscle. It would be like having building supplies, but no foreman to oversee the construction without leucine. What connection does this have to cottage cheese then? In contrast to many plant-based sources and even some meats, cottage cheese naturally contains a lot of leucine. About 2.6 grams of leucine, which is sufficient to promote muscle protein synthesis in most adults, can be found in 1 cup of low-fat cottage cheese. This makes it a calculated decision for both starting the muscle growth process and supplying protein in general. Even when total protein intake was equal, leucine-rich meals enhanced muscle protein synthesis by up to 25% more than lower leucine meals, according to a study published in the Journal of Nutrition. Leucine supplementation increased older adults' muscle mass and strength, without requiring them to alter their exercise regimen, according to a different 2011 study published in Clinical Nutrition. Thus, quality is more important than quantity. Your muscle mass may benefit more from a bowl of cottage cheese before bed than from a larger but lower leucine meal. This is a tool that you can use immediately. Protocol for leucine threshold. Aim for 2.5 to 3 grams of leucine per meal. This is equivalent to 2.5 scoops of most whey protein powders, 1 cup of cottage cheese, or 5 ounces of chicken breast. Distribute 3 to 4 meals a day that are high in protein. Strength isn't the only factor in maintaining muscle mass. Through processes like insulin sensitivity, brain-designed neurotrophic factor, or BDNF, and inflammation control, research has now demonstrated a strong correlation between mental resilience and muscle health. In actuality, older adults who have low muscle mass are more likely to experience depression and cognitive decline. Therefore, by activating mTOR and increasing muscle mass, you're not only enhancing your movement, but also your thoughts and emotions. Additionally, as people age, their mTOR activity naturally decreases. For this reason, in order to achieve the same anabolic response, older adults frequently require higher amounts of protein and leucine per meal than younger people. Eating like a 25-year-old is not the point. It involves eating in a way that is appropriate for your age and biology. Protein is not the only component of muscle. The proper kind of protein signals it into being, and the most important signal is leucine. The majority of people believe that aging or inactivity alone causes muscle loss, but in reality, improperly timed protein intake is a major contributor to sarcopenia, the progressive loss of muscle with aging. Your internal clock has a significant impact on your body's capacity to maintain and grow muscle. Your circadian rhythm, a biological timing system, controls not only your energy and sleep patterns, but also how well your cells absorb and use nutrients. MPS, or muscle protein synthesis, is a dynamic process. It has periods of increased sensitivity, particularly in the morning, during the night, and after resistance training. However, your body might go into a state of net muscle breakdown if you eat too little of the proper kind of protein or skip it during those windows. Most people consume very little protein at breakfast and most of it at dinner. Compared to distributing protein evenly across 3 to 4 meals a day, this unequal distribution eventually results in less total muscle protein synthesis, according to a 2020 review published in the Journal of Nutrition. Research has indicated that eating protein just before bed, particularly slow-digesting proteins like casein, can greatly improve muscle repair overnight. This is due to the fact that sleep is a critical period for memory consolidation, tissue regeneration, and growth hormone release. Additionally, your body cannot carry out these tasks at their best if it is deficient in amino acids during that time. Pre-sleep protein intake improved strength gains over 12 weeks of training and increased overnight MPS by 22% in older adults, according to a 2015 study published in Frontiers in Nutrition. Even when the total daily protein intake was the same, people who took 30 to 40 grams of casein protein before bed gained more lean mass than those who did not, according to another study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition. Protein distribution protocol using a simple tool 3 times. Consume 20 to 40 grams of protein at breakfast, lunch, and dinner, or at each major meal. Include a protein meal before bed, such as a 30-gram casein shake or 1 cup of cottage cheese. Eat meals high in protein within an hour of waking up and 2 hours after working out. That protein becomes even more potent if you train in the evening because it will coincide with your body's natural recovery cycles while you sleep, as well as increase muscle repair signaling. Consuming a balanced protein diet helps to maintain dopamine production, lower blood sugar spikes, and prolong mental acuity. This is how we transition from eating at random to strategically nourishing ourselves, from responding to hunger to adjusting to our biology. Strength is developed not only in the gym, but also in the kitchen, and is safeguarded while you sleep. It's not a metaphor. Neuroscience says that muscle is the brain's medicine. In addition to aiding in movement, skeletal muscle is metabolically active tissue that affects hormone balance, blood sugar regulation, and even brain plasticity. Your body releases molecules known as myokines when you contract your muscles, whether it be through walking, resistance training, or even isometric tension. Muscle fibers release these tiny signaling proteins, which move through the bloodstream and connect to your brain and other organs. Studies have demonstrated that irisin, one of the most potent myokines, stimulates the brain's neurotrophic factor, BDNF, a crucial molecule that promotes the development of new neurons and synapses. It is released during physical activity. BDNF is frequently referred to as the brain's fertilizer because it is essential for memory, learning, and emotional control. Therefore, maintaining lean muscle, particularly through movement and a diet high in protein, not only increases strength, but also resilience, mental clarity, and emotional stability. Regardless of physical activity, a study in the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism revealed that older adults with lower muscle mass had significantly higher levels of depressive symptoms. Even after controlling for lifestyle and cardiovascular factors, a different study published in Neurology 2022 revealed that a higher midlife muscle mass was associated with a lower risk of dementia in later life. Additionally, muscle increases insulin sensitivity, which lessens blood glucose spikes and crashes that can cause weariness, mood swings, and brain fog. One of the main causes of age-related cognitive decline is chronic low-grade inflammation, also known as inflammating, which is lessened by muscle. It has been demonstrated that resistance training and enough protein, particularly from leucine-rich foods like cottage cheese, can lower dual muscle-brain circuit and systemic inflammation markers like CRP and IL-6. Eat meals high in protein at regular intervals throughout the day, including before bed. 2 to 4 times a week, engage in strength training, even with resistance bands or body weight. Take between 7,000 and 10,000 steps a day to promote ongoing myokine release. Make sleep and hydration a priority, because they are critical for both cognitive function and muscle recovery. Not only do different proteins have different amino acid compositions, but they also differ in terms of how quickly or slowly they digest. This is much more significant than most people realize because the rate at which amino acids enter your bloodstream can determine whether your muscles break down or repair, particularly during periods of fasting like sleep or long work days. Whey and eggs are examples of fast-digesting proteins that rapidly raise amino acid levels, which makes them perfect for post-workout when your muscles are ready for quick repair. Casein, the main protein in cottage cheese, is one example of a slow-digesting protein. It releases amino acids gradually over 6 to 8 hours, giving you a consistent anabolic effect that is especially helpful when you're not eating. A seminal study comparing casein and whey protein was published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition in 1997. The results demonstrated that casein produced a moderate but sustained elevation in plasma amino acids, considerably lowering protein breakdown over a number of hours, whereas whey protein caused a quick but transient increase. Your body goes 7 to 10 hours without any outside energy while you sleep. Your body may use muscle tissue as an energy source if you don't consume slow amino acids before bed, particularly if your daily intake of leucine or protein is below ideal. The same is true for long days with postponed meals, sporadic fasting, or high levels of stress, all of which raise the hormone cortisol, which causes muscle atrophy. Slow digesting proteins serve as a buffer in each of these situations, preserving muscle protein availability while reducing breakdown. Digestive plan for maintaining muscle mass. Use chicken, eggs, and other fast-digesting proteins either in the morning or right after working out. Before going to bed or during extended fasts, use Greek yogurt or cottage cheese. To further slow absorption and improve satiety, combine slow proteins with a small amount of fat or fiber for optimal effects. If dinner is finished by 7 p.m., and wait until 9 a.m. before eating again. Clock in the morning, which is a 14-hour fast. Your muscles are at risk overnight, even if you consume a healthy amount of protein during the day, unless you supplement with slow-digesting amino acids in the evening. This is why consuming a 30-gram casein shake or 1 cup of cottage cheese before bed is such a potent, scientifically backed strategy. We start gradually losing muscle by the time we are in our 30s, at a rate of roughly 3 to 8% every 10 years, which picks up speed after the age of 60. Sarcopenia is a process that goes beyond simply looking older. It has to do with diminished strength, a higher chance of getting hurt, poorer metabolic health, and even cognitive decline. Here's the empowering reality, though. You can reverse this process with a precise daily regimen based on biology, not conjecture, rather than with intense exercise or fad supplements. The strength protocol for the day. Timing of proteins. 3 to 4 meals a day. Consume 3 to 4 meals with 30 to 40 grams of protein each. Make leucine-rich complete proteins, like eggs, poultry, fish, cottage cheese, Greek yogurt, or whey, a priority. Make use of a slow-digesting protein, such as 30 grams of casein or 1 cup of cottage cheese, 30 to 60 minutes prior to going to bed. Meals were commuted by leucine. A minimum of 2.5 to 3 grams of leucine, 5 ounces of chicken breast, 1 cup of low-fat cottage cheese, and 2.5 scoops of whey protein should be included in every meal. Training with resistance. Lift weights, use resistance bands, or perform bodyweight exercises 3 to 4 times a week. Pay attention to compound motions. Prioritize consistency over intensity when training until you are almost exhausted. Everyday motion. Take 7,000 to 10,000 steps a day, or try to get in 30 minutes of moderate exercise. Short bursts of intensity, such as hill walks or stair climbs, are optional. Optimizing sleep. 7 or 9 hours. 60 minutes prior to bedtime, wind down in low light. If you have trouble falling asleep, try breathwork or magnesium glycinate. Commence. Make regular wake and sleep times a priority. Steer clear of muscle saboteurs. Reduce your intake of alcohol, highly processed foods, and extended periods of inactivity. If you want to preserve your muscles, don't rely too much on cardio. The key is balance. Decrease prolonged stress. The goal of this protocol is alignment, not perfection. You don't have to train like an athlete or obsess over macros, but you do need to give your body the signals and resources it needs to develop and preserve your muscles, which are the foundation of your independence. Because your body is raised out of a chair by muscle. As you age, it's what keeps your joints stable, controls your energy, sharpens your mind, and keeps you alive. You lose muscle because you stop providing your body with the motivation and resources to maintain it. Not because you get older, you have the means to accomplish that now. We began this adventure with a straightforward concept. There is a food that can help you combat muscle loss quickly and contains more protein than eggs. But we discovered something more profound along the way. We discussed how to maintain your ability to live, move, and think with strength as you age, not just protein. Let's review the insights supported by science. Cottage cheese is a tool as well as a snack. Rich in slow-digesting casein and higher in protein than eggs, it's ideally suited to power your muscles all night long. Leucine triggers the mTOR pathway, which in turn causes muscle growth. Your muscle repair system remains dormant if you don't reach that leucine threshold each meal. It's all about timing. Protein works best when it is spaced out. Please click the like button if you thought this video was helpful. The channel benefits greatly from it. In order to ensure that you never miss any more videos, remember to subscribe and activate the notification bell. Please leave a comment below with your thoughts. I'd love to know what you think. I'll see you in the next one, and thanks for watching.